Hello, welcome to the European Open briefing for Wednesday, July the 12th. I'm Rafi Bajan, currency analyst at xm.com, and we're going to be looking at what's happening in the currency markets today. So we're seeing quite a dramatic reversal in the US dollar, particularly against the yen. Of course, only yesterday the dollar had reached a 4-month high. It's gone sharply lower. It's that downtrend started yesterday, and it's extended its losses today. That turnaround came after fresh evidence emerged that Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., was in fact in contact with some allegedly Russian officials, at least a Russian lawyer who claimed that she was working for the Russian government. Although that evidence doesn't appear to be too incriminating, it is still fairly serious, so it has had quite a bit of a negative impact on the greenback. We also had some rather dovish comments from a couple of Feds because that's also weighing on the US dollar, and as a result we're seeing a firmer gold and yen this morning. It also benefited the euro, which hit a fresh 14 months high against the greenback. The pound, on the other hand, is actually still down this morning. We did have some dovish remarks by a Bank of England official, the Deputy Governor, yesterday. But focus today will be on Fed Chair Janet Yellen's testimony in Congress, as well as the Bank of Canada, which is due to meet later today for its latest monetary policy decision. The loonie is currently fairly steady against its US counterpart. And in other news, we're seeing oil extend its gains further this morning after yesterday's inventory drawdown in the US. So let's have a closer look now at what's happening in the US, because the dollar is pretty much struggling at the moment near its 9-month lows it touched at the end of June. Yesterday, Donald Trump Jr. was forced to publish an email chain revealing his contacts with a Russian lawyer. That Russian lawyer claimed that she was actually working for the Russian government, but that doesn't appear to be true. She said she had damaging information against Hillary Clinton. Also, in the end, it turned out she didn't really have much information. But the fact that this wasn't disclosed, and also the fact that it may have been illegal to make such contact during an election campaign, that could lead to further troubles for Trump's administration. So yeah, that did have negative impact on the dollar, and briefly also on US stocks, though US stocks later recovered. In other developments, this actually kind of supported the greenback a little bit. We had the US Senate Majority Leader delaying the summer recess in order to give senators more time to debate the healthcare bill. If they manage to pass the healthcare bill, it does mean that in the autumn the focus will shift to the tax reforms, and that would be positive for the US dollar. We also had, as I mentioned, a couple of Fed speakers sounding rather dovish, but the main attention today will be on Fed Chair Janet Yellen, who is due to speak in Congress in a semi-annual monetary policy testimony that's due to start at 14 hours GMT. Looking at the dollar-yen chart, we can see soon after touching a 4-month high of 114.49, we saw a sharp downtrend, the downside reversal for the dollar-yen. The dollar index is trading not too far from June's 9-month low, 95.47. The Fed Governor Lyle Brainerd, who is also known to be a bit on the dovish side, she said that the Fed needs to move cautiously on further increases in the federal funds rate so as to help guide inflation back up. So she's not too confident that inflation will meet its the Fed's 2% target if they continue to raise rates. Neil Kashkari, the Minneapolis Fed president, we know that he's a dovish FOMC member since he voted against the rate hikes both in March and June. He said he's worried about the weak wage growth, wants to see further evidence on wage pressures before supporting higher interest rates. And a quick look at gold now, we can see gold has been heading higher since the dollar started falling, although they're really not too significant gains. Actually, it's just up 0.1% on the day. The yen, though, is broadly higher against all other currencies this morning. And also US yields did fall yesterday from the dovish Fed speakers, which also helped the safe havens. But as mentioned, the main focus will be on what Yellen will say and whether or not she will sound more hawkish or less hawkish than in a previous speech. Looking now at European currencies, the euro in orange here we can see is trading not too far from its fresh 14 months high 1.1489. We haven't really seen anything new out of the eurozone in terms of data or ECB speakers, so that's all mainly down to dollar weakness. The pound, though, has been we can see steadily drifting lower. In July it hit a 2-week low 1.2811 a short while ago. It's also at down against the euro, hitting an 8-month low of 0.8948 per euro. We did have the Bank of England Deputy Governor Ben Broadbent speaking yesterday. He didn't really comment on monetary policy in his speech, but later in an interview with a Scottish newspaper he did say that he's not ready to vote for a rate hike, adding that there are still a lot of imponderables, meaning a lot of uncertainties ahead for the outlook for the UK economy. So those comments have dampened the odds of a near-term rate hike by the Bank of England. The focus later today, though, for the pound will be UK unemployment data, which are due out very shortly. Looking at oil prices now, we can see in orange the oil prices have managed to bounce back from those lows early in the week. US crude is trading just below $46 a barrel. We did have the US government yesterday revising down slightly its forecast of US oil output in 2018, although even the revised figures still represent an increase on 2017, but that did boost oil prices a little bit. We also had the API inventory report, which showed a bigger than expected drawdown of 8.1 million barrels in US crude stocks for the week ending July 7. The official data is due later today. That could, if that also shows a drawdown, we will probably boost oil prices further. But we can see that the Canadian dollar, the USD CAD, hasn't been too inversely correlated with oil prices. Normally, as oil prices go down, USD CAD should go up, but we can see the loonie has been strengthening over the past months, actually since early May, and that's mainly due to the rising expectations that the Bank of Canada will raise rates perhaps as early as today. Actually, only a few days ago, the consensus was that the Bank of Canada will keep rates on hold, but in recent days, most economists are now forecasting that the bank will raise rates by a quarter of a basis point. That would be the first increase in Canadian rates since 2010. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Bank of Canada will signal further rate hikes this year, or they will say they're going to stay on hold for the time being. The loonie is currently trading near 10 months highs at around 1.29. And quick look at today's economic calendar. We've got the UK unemployment data out shortly, followed by Eurozone industrial production. But focus today later on will be the Bank of Canada decision, as well as Yellen's testimony in Congress, which will start at 14 hours GMT. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.